So this is my first relay in Texas, my first survivor speech in Texas. There's been a lot of firsts, but I have to say I'm really honored. I was trying to remember earlier when the last time was that I spoke at a relay, and I think it's been over a year. So I'm a little rusty. My heart is pounding. As she mentioned, I think this is about my 40th speech, but each one of them is different and special, and I get just as nervous every single time, so bear with me. So my story with cancer begins back in 2008. So I'm a St. Louis, Missouri native, but I had moved to San Diego, California, and I had been there for 2 years, and I was coming up on my 30th birthday. It was summertime, it was beautiful, I was living it up, and my parents had come out to visit me for the weekend. The US Open golf tournament was in San Diego, and we're a big golfing family, so it was a great weekend with my parents, and you know, it was summertime, so I was wearing shorts the whole weekend, and at one point in the weekend, my mom, from across the room, not kidding, looked at me and she pointed at my leg and she said, "Kristen, what is that? And how long has that been there?" And somehow when I looked down, I knew exactly what she was talking about. There was a little black mole on my left calf, right here where one of my little ribbons is on my socks. And I said, "I don't know, Mom, I've noticed it before, but I wasn't really worried about it." And you know, how many moms are in the crowd? Just want to see a show of hands. A lot of you. So the term motherly instinct is real, and it, if your mom ever says anything bothers her, it's probably because there's something going on. So my mom is not the worrying type. In fact, she's the one that holds our family together when things get tense. But for some reason, that little black mole on my leg really bothered her. And so all weekend long, she was bugging me, "Kristen, promise me you'll get that checked out." So I remember when I dropped them off at the airport, she said it again. She said, before they left, she said, "Promise me you'll get that looked at." So I rolled my eyes and I said, "Okay, Mom, sure, no problem." But I had my 30th birthday party weekend coming up, and a lot of plans and parties and things in the works. And so I was busy and I wasn't worried about it, but I did keep my promise to my mom. And about a week after my birthday, I went to my doctor and I showed him the mole and I told him about my mom's instinct, and he actually was on my side. He said, "I don't think it's anything to worry about, but we can biopsy it." So he did. And you know, for any of you that have ever had any tests done, even if it's not cancer related, you know that they tell you no news is good news, right? If you don't hear from us, you're in the clear. So I didn't hear from them for a week and a half. And so I thought I was in the clear, but my mom wanted an answer. She wanted to make sure that I was okay. So on Wednesday, July 23rd, 2008, I got home from work. I was still sitting in my car. It was about 5 p.m. on the dot, and I called the doctor's office, and I was probably their last call of the day. And they answered the phone, and they heard it was me, and the nurse got really quiet. And she said, "Well, actually, we're gonna need you to come in tomorrow." And I knew that wasn't good. And she said, "You know, you have cancer." So, so here I am 3 weeks after I turned 30 years old, sitting in my car. It kind of felt like the world was spinning around me, and I had to make the hardest phone call of my life, which was to my parents, because one thing I had to admit to my mom, that she was right and I was wrong, which no matter how old you get, you're all laughing in front, no matter how old you get, it's never fun. But I had to find the courage to say, "Mom, Dad, it turns out that I have cancer." So, mind you, I'm in San Diego, they're in St. Louis, and so it began kind of the family panic session, and we started making phone calls and doing internet research and just trying to figure out what to do and what to think. And 2 days later, I was at the oncologist office, and so I looked perfectly healthy. I'm 30 years old, and I walk in, and I'm the youngest person in the waiting room. I was scared to death. People were looking at me like, "What is she doing here? Like, she doesn't look like she belongs here." But you know, I met with a surgeon, and a week later, I was having surgery. And my whole future was uncertain at this point. We didn't know how advanced my cancer was. We didn't know what, you know, my fate was. And so I was terrified. But then I started to get really angry because I was like, I'm 30 years old. This is supposed to be the prime of my life. I'm living in San Diego. I have a good job and a good family, and why is this happening to me? I'm too young for this, right? That's what I thought at the time. But then I got mad at myself because I thought back to what I calculated to be 15 years of tanning beds, laying out in the sun, spending my summers working on my tan lines. That might sound crazy to some of you, but that was part of who I was. Growing up in St. Louis, the winters were very dark and gray. So when you had a high school dance or an occasion coming up, you would go to the tanning salon because you wanted that healthy glow. Sequin dresses looked better with a tan. At least that's what I thought back then. So, but I thought back to that and I thought, God, maybe this is my fault. You know, who am I mad at? I should be mad at myself. I caused this to happen. So I'm gonna fast forward 2 years. So now we're in the summer of 2010, and I was coming up on my 2-year cancerversary, as I like to call it, and I was still very angry at the world. I was mad at myself, and I was still scared. I was scared to go outside. I was paranoid of the sun. I didn't really know how to be normal. I was 32 years old, and I kind of felt like an outcast. My family is very supportive of me. I had a lot of friends who were very caring. But the interesting thing is, and a lot of the survivors here tonight will understand this, when the doctor tells you you're okay, go home and live your life, everybody around you just exhales and they're like, oh, thank God, they're okay. And they kind of move on with their lives. But when you're that person that's heard those 3 words, you have cancer, you don't just move on. It sticks with you. And I couldn't quite figure out how to feel normal, how to be normal anymore. And I was in probably the darkest place of my life ever. I kind of was a recluse. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to be with my friends. They were all at the beach having fun in the sun, and I didn't want anything to do with it. And I didn't really know how to feel normal anymore. But I decided, you know what, Kristen, you can't live this way anymore. You've got to do something about this. You've got to get your life back and get yourself back. So I thought maybe if I volunteer or do something to help people, it'll help me get through this. So I started doing some research, and I ended up on the American Cancer Society website, cancer.org, and I literally stumbled upon Relay for Life. There was one coming up, which later became my home relay in downtown San Diego. I was about 6 weeks away, and I thought, that sounds like fun. I can do that. So I signed up as a team captain, and I recruited about 10 friends to join me. I got t-shirts made. I didn't know what I was doing, but I felt official because we showed up and we looked like you guys. We all had our matching shirts on, and we looked like we knew what was going on. And when I checked in, they sent me over to the survivor tent, and they said, you know, make sure you go over there and get your survivor shirt. And I kind of was taken back by that because to that point, no one had ever called me a survivor. I certainly didn't think of myself that way. I didn't really know what that word meant, but I followed instructions, and I went over and I got my shirt. And, you know, the woman at the survivor tent, she handed me my shirt and she said, congratulations, today is about you. Go out there and celebrate. And it didn't really sink in at the time what she meant, but it's an amazing thing. You put on that purple shirt, and it's not just a shirt. But as I walked in my very first survivor lap, I was being high-fived by people along the track who didn't know me. They didn't know my story. But there was something about that shirt. And as the day went on, and I met other people in that purple shirt, and I heard other people's stories, and I realized, you know, wow, this is what I was meant to find. I wish I had found this 2 years ago, because I had spent 2 years in a black hole and really very lost, kind of lost my identity. But that shirt, it's kind of like Superman when you see the S on his chest. It was like I took on a new identity that day. And our relay was a 24-hour relay. So by the time the night came and we were walking the Luminaria lap, I was completely surprised as I came up to a section of bags with my name on them. Don't know where they came from. I still have them somewhere in a box, but my parents had gotten online and dedicated Luminaria bags to me from St. Louis. And my friends who were there that day had somehow snuck away and made bags for me, and they were all in a row, and I have an amazing picture of it. And I just lost it. It kind of all hit me all at once. Like, this is what this is all about. And I had to walk away from the track for a minute because I just started crying. I had no idea what less than 24 hours was gonna do to me. It completely changed my life, and it opened my eyes to what being a survivor really means. And it's so much more than a word. It really is. It's a family. It's a community. No matter where you go, there are survivors everywhere, and we are all part of an amazing, amazing family. And it really taught me the 3 pillars of Relay for Life are celebrate, remember, and fight back. And it Relay has taught me, I've been relaying now for, I guess it's been 7 years, and it's taught me that no matter when and how you heard those 3 words, you have cancer, you deserve to celebrate. If you're here to celebrate, you're a survivor, we're all in this together. It doesn't matter how old you are, what stage you had. If you're still fighting now, what type of cancer, it doesn't matter, because everybody heard those 3 words, and that's what we all have in common, and we share that bond. So I celebrate that every relay, every chance I get. Relay has also given me a very amazing way to remember people that I've lost. My relay team in San Diego was called Team Chazzy, and Chazzy was a friend of mine. We were friends before either of us ever had cancer. And then I got mine, and 2 years later, she was diagnosed with brain cancer. And we lost Chazzy in 2012, and we renamed our team Team Chazzy. And my friends in San Diego, I wasn't there at my relay this year because I had just moved to Austin, but they kept Team Chazzy going strong, and Chazzy's with me tonight. I have my Team Chazzy gear with me because she was my first friend that I lost to cancer, and she was 36 years old. And I've lost many since, too many to even name, but having the opportunity to come to Relay, to light a bag, to think about them, to celebrate their life and what they meant to me, and to share that with, friends and family. It's been truly like therapy for me. I don't know what I would do without Relay. It's allowed me to grieve and to honor them in a way that I don't think I could have done without it. Fight back is the 3rd pillar of Relay, and to me right now, it's my favorite part, because there's so much we can do to fight back. And it's not just the raising money, but it's sharing our stories and sharing awareness. And when I was first asked to be a hero of hope and share my story, I laughed at my friend and I said, there's no way I can get up in front of people and do this, let alone with a microphone. But what I've realized is through sharing my story, I was diagnosed with melanoma at age 30. And I've since learned a lot about melanoma and skin cancer, and I was given the gift of what I would like to call my dream job. I came to Austin because my amazing boyfriend David had relocated for work, but when I finally got here, it's because I was able to take on my dream job, and I now work for the Shade Project. We are a very small nonprofit here in Austin, and our focus is on preventing skin cancer. So I'm living my passion and my story every single day, and I've realized how much sharing my story at events like this, how much that is my way of fighting back. It's my way of being vulnerable and putting myself out there and letting people know that, cancer doesn't discriminate. I was 30 years old and in great health, and it happened to me. And I don't want this to happen to anybody. So one of the best ways that you all can fight back with me is to wear sunscreen, wear hats and sunglasses, go to a dermatologist once a year and get a skin check. It's harmless, it takes 10 minutes, and thanks to my mom bugging me to get mine checked, it saved my life. I have learned that one person dies every hour from melanoma. So I know what my fate could have been, and I have 2 friends, very close friends, who are in San Diego who are literally fighting for their life right now from melanoma. And one is Michelle and one is Eric, and I'm dedicating my speech to them. One of the things Eric told me before I moved, we were saying our final goodbye before I took off to Austin, and he said, Kristen, what you're doing is what keeps me fighting. And I've relayed with Eric for years, and I really hope that I get to do it again. But I'm here speaking on behalf of survivors everywhere, whether it's melanoma or brain cancer, or it doesn't matter. Like I said before, we're all in this together. And every dollar you're raising, every lap you're walking, every story that you're sharing, it is making a difference, I promise you. So please keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much for having me. It means so much to find a Relay family in my new home here. And I just really hope that you'll take my story to heart and you'll share it, and that you'll continue fighting back here with your Relay family. So thank you, Lauren, for inviting me to be a part of your event, and Julia, and thank you all very much.